During the Joseon dynasty, the Gwangsan Kim clan was an elite yangban, or the noble class family, producing many high-ranking government officials, scholars, and resistance leaders. Their members served in key positions such as prime ministers, chief scholars, and royal advisors. One of those is Kim Sang-heon, a prominent member of the Gwangsan Kim clan. Kim Sang-heon is best known for his unyielding resistance against King China during the early 17th century. His opposition can be divided into two key events. First, rejection of surrender during the later Jin invasion in 1627. In 1627, the later Jin, the predecessor of the Qing dynasty, invaded Joseon in the First Manchu invasion. While many officials advocated for peace, Kim Sang-heon strongly opposed surrender, arguing that Joseon should resist foreign rule. Sadly, despite his objections, Joseon was forced to sign the Peace Treaty of 1627, recognizing later Jin's authority. The second part is his imprisonment for defying King rule around 1636. The Qing dynasty launched the Second Manchu invasion of Korea. King Injo and the Joseon court surrendered at Namhansan-song Fortress, leading to the humiliating subjugation of Joseon under Qing rule. Kim Sang-heon vehemently refused to accept Qing dominance, writing numerous memorials condemning the surrender. As a result, he was imprisoned and tortured. Yet, he never wavered in his defiance. He famously refused to shave his head, a symbolic act of loyalty to Joseon's independence, as shaving the head was a sign of submission to King rule. Years later, after his release from prison, Kim Sang-heon lived in seclusion, refusing to serve under the King-controlled Joseon government. He continued to write Confucian essays, reinforcing Korean nationalism and opposition to foreign rule. He died in 1652, but his legacy remains strong, inspiring future anti-King movements and resistance leaders. He is revered as a symbol of patriotism and Confucian righteousness. His writings and ideological stance influenced later Korean independence movements, especially during the Japanese occupation. And speaking of the Japanese resistance, the Gwangsan Kim clan had many members who were the leaders of this. That same patriotism lives strong in the blood of Gwangsan Kim clan because they also played a major role in Korea's anti-Japanese resistance. Kim Kyung-sun, for example, secretly supported the Korean Provisional Government, or KPG, which was actually established in exile in Shanghai to resist Japanese colonial rule. He provided financial aid and logistical support to independence fighters and helped organize underground networks that facilitated the movements of weapons, intelligence, and resistance fighters. Kim Chang-sok is another one. He opposed the Ulsa Treaty in 1905, which made Korea a protectorate of Japan. He also joined the March 1st movement in 1919, a nationwide protest against Japanese rule. He was imprisoned and he was tortured by the Japanese authorities for his activism. But later, he helped establish Sungkyun Kwan University to continue Korean Confucian traditions post-independence. And the women of Gwangsan Kim clan were also trailblazers. Kim Wai-ran, or Kim Helen, is one of them. First Korean woman to earn a PhD and an educator during the resistance movement. She advocated for women's education and national identity during the colonial period. She secretly supported Korean independence activists through education and cultural preservation. She was later criticized for collaboration under Japanese pressure. Her efforts in education, however, helped preserve Korean intellectual independence. And we cannot talk about the Gwangsan Kim clan without talking about Kim Jong-so, the loyal general who defended Joseon. Kim Jong-so played a critical role in expanding and defending Joseon's northern borders, serving under Kim Sejong and Kim Moon-jong. During King Sejong's reign, the Jurchens frequently raided northern Joseon, stealing supplies and destabilizing border regions. In 1943, Kim Jong-so led a large-scale military expedition to push them back. His forces advanced into Manchuria, capturing several Jurchen strongholds, eliminating key threats, and after this campaign, the Jurchens were forced to retreat deeper into Manchuria, significantly reducing their attacks. But even more significant is what he did after. To prevent future invasions, Kim Jong-so oversaw the construction of fortified outposts along the Yalu River and Tumen River. Key fortresses included Yongojin Fortress, Jegil Fortress, and Sahejin Outpost. These military outposts housed permanent garrisons, preventing Jurchen incursions into Joseon territory. The fortresses also served as economic hubs, supporting local agriculture and trade to sustain border communities. But he knew a fortress or three wouldn't be enough, so he actually started alliances and diplomatic measures. He used the divide and conquer strategy. Kim Jong-so used diplomacy to weaken Jurchen unity. He formed alliances with smaller Jurchen tribes, ensuring that they would not support rival groups that threatened Joseon. By dividing the Jurchen forces, he prevented them from launching large-scale invasions. He also controlled trade and tribute system. Kim implemented a strict trade system, allowing only loyal Jurchen tribes to trade with Joseon. This ensured that Jurchen groups relied on Joseon for goods, making them less likely to attack. In return, Joseon supplied limited resources, keeping the Jurchen dependent but not strong enough to become a threat. But he wasn't content with just that. He also started introducing military innovations and defensive warfare. He introduced new military tactics, adapting to Jurchen cavalry warfare. He improved Joseon's archery and horseback combat techniques, making Joseon's forces more effective in border battles. He also integrated gunpowder weapons into border defenses, giving Joseon a technological edge over the Jurchen. He also established early warning systems, a network of signal beacons along the border. This smoke and fire signals allowed Joseon forces to quickly respond to Jurchen attacks before they could penetrate deep into Joseon land. Rebellion, loyalty, and brilliance. Through centuries of rebellion, loyalty, and brilliance, the Gwangsan Kim clan helped shape Korea's history. Kim Sang-heon stood unshaken against King China, refusing to bow under imprisonment and torture, proving that loyalty to Korea was non-negotiable. Meanwhile, Kim Kyung-sun fought from the shadows, supporting the Korean provisional government against Japanese colonial rule, ensuring that the spirit of resistance never died. Both men embodied fearless dedication, putting duty before comfort and nation before self. Fast forward to today, Kim Sok-jin carries the same unbreakable spirit. While others sought global assimilation, he proudly held into his Korean identity, proving that being a world star doesn't mean forgetting your roots. Like his ancestors, he stood by his brothers, BTS members, declaring that BTS is the only band he will ever be in, a level of loyalty that mirrors the devotion of his forefathers. And while the other members of BTS serve in the military, he has been working tirelessly to give army content, proving that commitment is in his DNA. Kim blood runs deep. From battlefield to stage, Korea's honor remains intact. In Kim Sok-jin.
And that concludes our BTS Royal Blood series. I hope that you learned something from it. I hope that you enjoyed it. I certainly did. It was enlightening. I definitely have a better appreciation of their history, of who they are, where they are right now as a country, and the status and the strength of their culture. Also, make no mistake, I know that I always relate BTS to their forefathers, but just want to make it clear that BTS's success is theirs and theirs alone. It was them who made the decisions, who actually worked for it. I'm sure that the culture and their family actually had a contribution in their attitude, their discipline, their passion, but at the end of the day, their success is theirs. All right. I'm not an expert, so if there is any clarification, any correction, let me know. I would be more than happy to learn. Watch out for my next series, but in the meantime, there are several more other topics that I want to go through as we prepare for the return of BTS. All right. If you ended up liking this video and this series, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so that you don't miss a single video. Also, please follow me on X and also on Instagram and be a member of my Patreon community. I am starting to do interviews with experts, and eventually I am going to live stream the interviews. And people that are in Patreon, members of Patreon, will be able to ask questions on the spot as I do the interview. So I hope to see you there. Thank you.